Sure, talent matters, but in the team game, unity, trust, and alignment are what enhance performance and lead to success. It's okay to fail in pursuit of innovation. It's okay to be human. High-performing teams don't thrive because everyone thinks the same. They thrive because diverse perspectives fuel creativity. When trust is strong, teams move faster. They collaborate better, and innovation just becomes ingrained in the culture. G'day everyone, and welcome to another episode of Lead on Purpose. My name's James Middleton, and over the last 20 years, I've led teams of all shapes and sizes, from the Australian Air Force through to the private sector. These days, I work with organisations to build ethical, purposeful leadership at every level. I also help you become the leader that you want to be. I explore real-world leadership challenges and bring you inspiring stories from experienced leaders, and give you practical strategies to help you lead with confidence, clarity, and purpose. Today, we're talking about how to build and lead high-performing teams. I'm going to unpack 5 essential characteristics of high-performing teams, explain why these contribute to high performance, and tell you leaders out there how to grow these characteristics within your own teams. You've probably heard the phrase, a champion team will beat a team of champions, or something similar. The idea is that it isn't individual performance that leads to success, but rather the way in which people work together. We've all seen it too. The football team that looks on paper like it has no chance of winning. The head-to-head player lineups show that one team is bigger, taller, faster, and stronger. But somehow the so-called underdogs pull it off and come away with the win. A team of champions is a group of talented individuals who play for themselves. They're brilliant, but they're not united. A champion team, on the other hand, is a group of individuals who are no doubt talented in their own right, but play together with a shared purpose. They're united by trust, and they hold each other accountable to higher standards. There are countless examples in sport. The Wallabies at the 1991 World Cup. The Queensland Maroons nearly every year, according to the media, but notably in 2020 when they were labelled as the worst team ever, and yet came away with the win. And the USA men's hockey team at the 1980 Winter Olympics. I think they made a movie about that one. All teams that on paper had no chance of winning, but they achieved excellence together. These principles don't just hold true in the sporting world, they're relevant to every team in every industry. Sure, talent matters, but in the team game, unity, trust, and alignment are what enhance performance and lead to success. So with that in mind, let's dive into the 5 characteristics that define high-performing teams and see how you can build them into your team's DNA. Number 1, shared purpose. Let's start with purpose because this is the heartbeat of a high-performing team. Shared purpose means that everyone knows why they're here and what their efforts mean. A shared purpose gives the individuals in a team a common reference for why. Why do they come to work every day? Why does the work matter? This purpose creates meaning and tells us that the work we're doing is more than just ticking boxes and meeting KPIs. It's contributing to something bigger and making society better. When a team has a pro-social purpose, that is, when the work contributes to something bigger than themselves, people show up differently. They're motivated by their impact, not just metrics. And when personal purpose aligns with team and organizational purpose, that's where the magic happens. As a leader, your job is to make that purpose real. Communicate the why often, but don't just tell people that their actions are making a difference. Challenge them to think about how their actions are helping move the team in the right direction. Challenging people to think about their own connection to purpose creates ownership and encourages creativity in pursuit of excellence. So don't let purpose just exist as a poster on the wall. It's a conversation that you and your team need to be having every day. Number 2, trust. If purpose is the heartbeat of a high-performing team, then trust is the backbone. Trust means that people feel safe to speak up and hold each other accountable. They have the confidence to share ideas and take risks without the fear of judgment or punishment. When a team trusts each other, they say what they mean and do what they say. This trust is the foundation for collaboration and innovation. When trust is strong, teams move faster. They collaborate better, and innovation just becomes ingrained in the culture. But trust doesn't happen by accident. It's given intentionally and grows through courage and consistency. As a leader, you need to model this trust. Trust your people and believe in what's possible. Follow through on your commitments. Say what you mean and do what you say. At the same time, have the courage to be vulnerable and share your own challenges and lessons. This demonstrates your commitment to a psychologically safe environment where it's okay to disagree. It's okay to fail in pursuit of innovation, where it's okay to be human. Number 3, growth mindset. High-performing teams don't fear mistakes. They welcome them as an important part of growth because a mistake is just another opportunity to learn. A growth mindset means people see challenges as opportunities, not as threats. They take risks to innovate in line with purpose and commit to learning from every outcome, good or bad. And this is important because learning can't just be limited to formal training or scheduled courses. Learning also comes from everyday conversations. We learn by reflecting on what worked and what didn't. Wins and losses are both lessons. But for learning to empower high-performing teams, people need to have the discipline to not only find the lessons, but also share the lessons. To share mistakes, people need to be vulnerable. And they'll only do that when they're connected to the purpose and they feel supported by the trust within the team. As a leader, you need to foster a commitment to learning. And as with trust, this starts with you modeling the behaviors that you want to see. So share your mistakes and your lessons, but share your successes too. Encourage people to support you with feedback so that you can do the same for them. Create formal opportunities for learning, but back them up with a focus on learning at every opportunity. If you want a team that grows, you need to grow with them. Number 4, unity. Now, before we talk about unity, we need to discuss diversity. Diversity is a non-negotiable for high-performing teams. High-performing teams don't thrive because everyone thinks the same. They thrive because diverse perspectives fuel creativity, they spark innovation, and they lead to better problem solving. And research continues to show that cognitively diverse teams solve problems faster. And companies with diverse leadership consistently have better financial outcomes. But diversity alone isn't enough. Diversity brings the potential to solve complex problems, but it can lead to more challenges without effective leadership. Focusing that potential through unity and creating an environment where people feel safe to share different views in pursuit of a common purpose is what turns potential into performance. A high-performing team needs to work together towards a shared goal. This isn't about everyone thinking or acting the same. That would stifle innovation. Instead, it's about alignment and focus. As a leader, your role is to harness the power of diversity and channel it towards the bigger picture. Get people out of their silos, encourage collaboration, and challenge them to think about how their work, their successes, and their lessons can help everyone succeed together. Celebrate diversity as a strength, but don't let the differences overshadow shared purpose, trust, and common values. When diverse perspectives unite around a common goal, teams maximize their strengths, they minimize their weaknesses, and deliver better outcomes for their organization and for society. Number 5, recognition and celebration. Finally, recognition. This is the fuel that keeps the engine running. High-performing teams celebrate wins, learn from losses, and commit to the process of growth. They recognize effort and intent, not just outcomes. Because outcomes don't tell the whole story. High-performing teams know that success isn't linear. They understand that the outcome is a product of the process, like a football team winning the grand final. That moment of success is a product of months of hard work, months of effort, and a mix of wins and losses along the way, each an opportunity to learn. As a leader, it's important to recognize and celebrate the wins. Those moments in time where the result is objectively positive. But don't stop there. Celebrate the success of that project that took 9 months to complete. People deserve to celebrate that success. But what if next time the project stalls, funding gets cut, and the team doesn't get to celebrate that final moment of success? Does that mean the effort that the team was putting up until that point is meaningless? Of course not. That's why it's important as leaders to make recognition and celebration part of day-to-day life at work. Give praise freely and openly as you see people putting in the effort. Create opportunities to publicly recognize effort and intent as well as the outcomes. So as a leader, don't just wait for the big milestones. Celebrate the small wins and celebrate the process. When you make celebration a habit, you bring people together. People feel seen and they feel valued. That is what drives high performance. High-performing teams aren't defined by individual brilliance. They share a culture of shared purpose, trust, and unity, where everyone is committed to growth and all wins, no matter how small, are celebrated together. Let's recap the 5 essential characteristics of high-performing teams. Shared purpose. Everyone knows the why behind their work and feels connected to something bigger than themselves. Trust. A safe environment where people speak up, take risks, and hold each other accountable. Growth mindset. Wins and losses alike become lessons, and learning is part of everyday conversations. Unity. Diverse perspectives aligned towards a common goal, working together as one. And recognition and celebration. Effort and progress are acknowledged regularly, not just the big wins. Thank you for joining me today on Lead on Purpose. If today's episode gave you something to think about or you learned something, then tell me about it in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who's ready to become a better leader. Remember, leadership is not a title, it's a choice. So make that choice and keep leading on purpose. My name's James, and I'll see you next time.